And for us, as producers and organizers of music events, we have this challenge within the festivals, obviously. The regular festivals that have been there for 9 years, for 10 years, and now I'm mainly talking about Katowice JazzArt Festival that has this very strong social inclusion inclinations, and this is a very important task for us. So indeed we are trying to reach different audiences who normally don't buy the tickets or who don't go to the concert. I represent Katowice City of Gardens, institution of culture that is based in Katowice, Poland, and I'm head of programming. So I'm in charge of different activities in the institution, but the festivals and projects that I program myself, and the main ones are Katowice JazzArt Festival and the World Music Festival Gardens of Sounds, plus some other activities like showcase during Czech Music Crossroads in Ostrava, but mainly music events or interdisciplinary projects, actions that are sometimes changing during all this time. The Katowice City of Gardens is an institution that is very interdisciplinary, very versatile. And I think that us as curators, as cultural employees, we have this obligation to reach really the audiences which are having problems with reaching us. So we have to be creative and we have to take this step forward to be on our own, just to represent the city as it is, but also to propose something different. So it's easy to organize events, especially concerts. They are always great and always nice, and we have the system of preparing them, organizing them. But reaching different audiences is still the biggest challenge for us within the whole institution. I can speak on my own behalf as the festival director of Katowice JazzArt Festival, for instance. But I think that for each curator in the institution is a big challenge. Just name it. Is it a festival of cinema and audiovisual arts? Is it theater? Is it a gallery curator? I think that we are all having these challenges. But however, as Katowice being the creative city of music, and for us as producers and organizers of music events, we have this challenge within the festivals, obviously. The regular festivals that have been there for 9 years, for 10 years, and now I'm mainly talking about Katowice JazzArt Festival that has this very strong social inclusion inclinations, and this is a very important task for us. So indeed we are trying to reach different audiences who normally don't buy the tickets or who don't go to the concert. So we have these two parts, we as a cultural event and we as a sort of entertainment event. We are trying to be as flexible as possible, and even when we suggest something for the audience, like regular one, I would say, we still have these different venues. Our goal is first of all to be as open as we are within the city. So we are collaborating with different venues, with different cultural institutions, not only music, but also with visual arts and with Academy of Fine Arts, with different clubs, with very many different small venues and vendors in the city. However, for the strictly social inclusion part, we are reaching these audiences who are very special. The concert series in the prison based in Katowice is something that we've been doing for 6 years, and it is very successful, it is very special, and this is indeed for the audience that cannot come to us for obvious reasons. We were doing that for years, and 2 years ago we tried to reach something or take a step forward and to do something more, just to engage the audience. We have prepared the plan to do something more interactive. Pandemic hits. We still have these plans, but I think that it's coming up and we are going to do it afterwards. And so that was the first project that was strictly socially engaged. And the second one was very premier one with Italian musicians, and that was a project with disabled children in the special school, and that was strictly interactive based on the workshops. So these two activities we want to continue. This is something that we are having already experience with, and we want to develop these two activities. Each time in prison is a big emotional drag, I would say, for each of us. For the artist, for us, well, I was in the prison, however, it sounds maybe very strange, but I was in prison now very many times. And each time it is a huge emotion are involved. And I think that for the artist as well, I know that, well, because of we have this connection with the culture organizer, the person who works in Major Wojciech Brzoska, and thanks to his relation, his connection, we can do that, because that was him who established the concert series even before JazzArt existed. We will feature Gwen Sharp, who started actually the concert series there with a different festival. So it is always a big heavy emotional act, I would say. And when I see the audience, sometimes it's challenging because we are doing concerts for the female inmates. So it's always in the same place, also because of logistics, also because of the setting. So there are always women coming for these concerts, and who are a bit easier to convince to come than male audiences, from what I heard from the employees of the prison. But then they are always interactive, and they are asking for autograms, they are reacting, they are focused. I know that the Wojtek Brzoska, he is organizing also theater performances, different forms of workshops, also beyond JazzArt. And the reactions are very, very strange sometimes, very different. There was also a theater, now I'm not talking about JazzArt, but there was a theater with a naked actress, and she had very strong bond with the inmates. We have, as festival organizers with musicians, there are also different moments. The last concert that I remember well, it was the duo Wild Birds and Peace Drums, some Marian Valentin on vocals and her husband on drums, and that was very long ovation, standing ovation, fantastic moment. And even when you think that, okay, again we do it, and you know, we've seen much and we've seen everything, and in this very limited space, what kind of reactions can be? And they cannot be also very enthusiastic, because then if there is something more dynamic, well, there is security, so of course there is quickly the reaction coming. But still, you know, when I see tears from someone, and then we are also like crying, you know, it's always very emotional. And I know that not every artist can do that. I have to be honest that we were a bit preparing always for that. So usually the artists for both projects, in the special school for disabled children and for the inmates in the prison, we usually have the artists who either have this experience before, and especially that we are inviting artists from abroad. So for this, especially for the school, you have to have experience in that, because there is a language barrier. So that was really challenging. However, the disability of the children was so big that language was not a barrier in this sense, because it was music and some expressions and facial expressions, so that was very helpful. However, for the prison, we started as JazzArt with a band who hasn't done that before, but they were willing. They wanted to have this challenge, and they wanted to do that. There was American band from New York, Abraxas, playing John Zorn music. So also not the easiest, not the not smooth jazz, let's say. sometimes very ambitious projects and sometimes very ambitious amplification. That is very tough because of course the acoustic in the there in the hall, it's quite it's not for the concerts obviously, so sometimes we have to adjust technically for that. I remember that we had a quartet Self-Hunter from Denmark, very loud, you know, super loud, and it was a bit too much, so we also developed and we also tried to adjust to the venue. That was fantastic concert, by the way. Also female artists for female inmates, and that was very strong, very strong message, I would say. Also female artists who are playing brass instruments and drums. I think that this is also something different. Yeah, this is different for the regular audience, I would say, and what in this very limited place that you don't have concerts every week or every month. So I think that's also showing. Yes, definitely we don't choose the easy way or shortcuts. It's just the regular programming. It's not something different. That I was repeating myself a few times, that usually the social program or the female artist, there is something like, you know, on the side. For the festivals, but we are doing that at the same time. So there is always concert for the inmates and there is concert for the regular audience in the club for the audience. So artistically, yes, definitely not. Yeah, I think that it's really a lot about intuition and knowing the person, knowing the artist who can do that. Because I know from the experience of Wojtek, who is working there, he's inviting a lot of different artists, writers and poets, for instance. He is poet himself, he's performing artist himself, so he knows that not everyone can go beyond these walls. And some people, some artists, some guests, they say it in advance that we don't dare. So daring is the first thing. When there are artists who have done that before, who have this experience in their own countries or their cities, then we know that okay, they can do that again, they can come to us. Like Papanosh, that was the band that actually I wanted to mention as the most important band maybe within this history of concerts in prison, because they were the ones that were
French band.
There was the French band. There is the French band that played in the prison, and we have a plan to work with them a bit further, together with the inmates. And we are worried a lot about the situation now, because I assume that these places, these closed facilities, they will be really the last ones to open. And we are really worried about also welfare of the inmates, so nobody wants to put any risk onto them. And we are afraid that it can last a bit longer, but we are also searching for alternative ways how to do something for the inmates. And I know that different activities are going on, and we just hope that we don't put anyone in the risk, and we can enter.
And we like for you to join in with us and have a ball.
And what maybe like the last thing that I wanted to add, when a pandemic hit, everybody was shifting towards the new technologies and to online world. And this is something that the inmates cannot do. They don't have access to that. They cannot sit with their mobile phones or with their computers. So that really showed how excluded some people are from small villages where there is like no Wi-Fi everywhere. And definitely this group of people, this minority, they really had a struggle. They really had big struggle to be there. Because even the closest family couldn't come to the jail for many months. So what about us, people who are not related, we don't have any access and still want to do something, and we know that there is this need. So we were all excluded from the culture, from live culture, and the inmates, they didn't even have this online facilities and possibilities. So that is even like double difficulty. Yeah.